Hooks and eyes are a very traditional and historical way of creating closures among bodices and skirts and all sorts of things. They are kind of the original zipper, so to speak. Hooks and eyes closures were created in the 1800s, as soon as they were invented, and then you pretty much see them all the way through, even into like the 1950s in like undergarments, and we still use them on bra straps and corsets and just a lot. They're a good, secure attachment for a closure that a zipper would just have too much strain on. So something that's like close fitting, tightly fitting, a hook and eye closure is gonna be much more secure and easier to fasten than a zipper. So a zipper, as soon as you get tension on the zipper, it can be a mess. Overall, tension on a zipper is just not what you want. And so a hook and eye closure is pretty much my go-to on anything that has any sort of stress from being more tightly fit against the body. And now it also is super helpful for really, I can't think of a situation where I wouldn't use a hook and eye. Another use of a hook and eye is also like at the top of a zipper. You hook that one hook and eye together to keep the zipper opening from undoing. You see that in modern fashion. The reason why I bring it up is one, it's a great closure. Two, there's different ways you can attach that hook and eye to your fabric. My personal favorite, and one that I just really like the look of, and so I do it all the time. And that's using a buttonhole stitch. So instead of just doing basically a whip stitch around the edges, I do a buttonhole stitch. Now this not only just neatens up the whole look of the hook and eye once it's finished being sewn on, but also it's creating extra security and kind of knotting the thread as you're sewing each stitch. And that's the reason why it's used for a buttonhole. And so how this works is you're going into your fabric, coming out the inside of that circle sewing spot, and then the thread is wrapped around, and so that when you pull the needle out, it kind of loops around that thread that you just pulled. And you continue this process, and it's kind of creating this almost chain system, kind of ish lock system as you're sewing each stitch. I also use this same stitch and method to secure my dress clasps on my skirt waistbands and closures. This whole stitch can also be sped up if you first position the thread sort of looped around, so that when you put the needle through the fabric and then come out, you already have the thread around that needle, and then you just have to pull. So there's no pausing, moving the thread into that looped position, and that speeds up the process quite a lot. Now, another thing with hooks and eyes that I have started doing pretty much all the time is I no longer use the eye part of this closure. I just use the hook part. I instead use a thread bar to secure that hook in place. I've nixed using the eye because it's extra hardware that you need to try to hide and position correctly, whereas a thread bar just minimizes the whole closure. So a thread bar is basically just that. It's creating a little bar that the hook can slip onto in just thread. So you first go into the fabric a couple times, creating a large loop, about 1/4 inch. It needs to be large enough for that hook to fit into. Then you do the buttonhole stitch around that thread. So you're not going into the fabric here, you're just creating that looped stitch around that thread, which adds extra security to that thread so it doesn't break when the hook is attached. It's a super easy stitch to do, and I just find, again, that it just neatens up the whole look and also is just more secure.